welcome to your second cup of coffee. I'm Ezra. Today we take a look back 74 years on the attacks on Pearl Harbor. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in world history. Have you heard this line? No, you couldn't have, because it was only included in Franklin Delano Roosevelt's first draft of his Day of Infamy speech. What kind of impact would that opening line have had on the American people in such a time of distress? A small country, a country that feared that it would never be able to compete against the bigger developing countries. Japan felt pinned because of the sanctions the United States put on them. Japan was ready to retaliate. Japan wanted to hold on to their old values while still building and developing in the 20th century. The United States, at 7:49 a.m., Japanese Air Commander General Fuchida looks down on Pearl Harbor and he realizes that they have caught the Americans completely off guard, which they wanted. He gave the command Tora Tora Tora, which can be translated to Tiger Tiger Tiger. This meant that the Japanese had achieved the element of surprise and it was time to attack. The American forces understood that it was an attack. They sent a command to every ship and base in the American Navy. Air raid on Pearl Harbor. This is not a drill. That message went out to everyone. Seeking unquestioned dominance in the air, Japanese planes shot down planes on the runway first, which were lined wingtip to wingtip, making them easy targets for the Japanese Air Force. At 8 a.m. exactly, the unarmored B-17s, expected earlier and mistaken to be the Japanese fleet, approached Pearl Harbor. They were unarmed. The B-17s had to dodge fire from both the Japanese planes and anti-aircraft gunfire from the Americans. The B-17s managed to land intact. The B-17s landed at approximately 8:15 a.m. The USS Arizona was struck by a bomb from a Japanese plane. The bomb hit a chamber that stored gunpowder directly, and the Arizona went down as a blazing fireball. The USS Nevada, on the other hand, at 8:50 a.m., set out to take on the second wave of Japanese fighters. Japan wanted the Nevada to move because if the Nevada was sunk in the position it was, it would trap the whole American fleet. The Nevada understood what Japan was trying to do, so they intentionally grounded themselves on the shore of Pearl Harbor. After the Nevada left an opening for the fleet to escape, at 9:30 a.m., the USS Shaw was hit by a bomb. This picture became one of the most spectacular images of Pearl Harbor. Every ship that was sunk, excluding the Arizona, the Utah, and the Oklahoma, would eventually be recommissioned in the U.S. Navy. As the forces on Pearl Harbor regrouped yet again after the second wave of attack, Japanese pilots urged a third wave of attack. The only thing that held the Japanese commanders back was the fact that their primary targets, the aircraft carriers, were in an unknown position, and that could pose a threat to Japan's dominance in the air. The attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan thrust America into World War II. America fought alongside the Allied forces. Japan beat the fleet at Pearl Harbor, but they did not get the result they intended. Japan wanted America to back down from fighting and let them have the Pacific peacefully, but the United States did not allow this to happen. They gave everything they had to stop Japan. I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve. A quote attributed to Isaruko Yamamoto, a commander of the Air Force of Japan. This quote, although it may not really be his, does reflect how he felt about the attacks on Pearl Harbor and their result. Japan surrendered to America in September of 1945. Among the ships there was one that was a victim of the attack, the USS West Virginia. Although the war was won, and Japan and Germany and the rest of the Axis powers were defeated, the pains and scars of Pearl Harbor will never heal. December 8th, 1941, just a day after the attacks on Pearl Harbor, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt delivered his famous Day of Infamy speech after making changes to his original draft. His speech was meant to inform Americans on what happened at Pearl Harbor just a day ago. His speech was also meant to send a message, not just to Americans, but to the Japanese forces, that America would not take an attack of this nature lying down. America was headed to war. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. Thank you for tuning in to your second cup of coffee. I'm Ezra Hopi. Stay classy, U of D.